The real reasons WWE released talent, did Triple H know or have a say, one release name is quitting wrestling altogether, and more. I'm Luke Owen and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
On Thursday, it was reported that WWE had released 10 to 12 backstage names from the company, most notable of which was Christine Lebrano, who oversaw the creative strategy from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, and reported directly to Triple H. When we talked about this on Friday's WrestleTalk News, I noted that WWE often have a post-WrestleMania spring clean of sorts, releasing both backstage and on-screen talent from the company. However, at the point the episode came out, I said there had been no report of talent being cut, just backstage personnel. I did, however, sort of predict that if WWE did release on-screen talent, they'd wait until late on Friday so it gets lost in the weekend news cycle. Well, I didn't have to record a video on my phone after a few glasses of wine, but I did have to do one on Saturday morning in my pajamas. WWE released the following names: Braun Strowman, Shayna Baszler, Dakota Kai, Kaden Carter, Katana Chance, Cora, Jade, Gigi Dolan, Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, Wolfgang, Riley Osborne, Oro Mensah, Jakara Jackson, Javier Bernal, and Eddie Thorpe. As is standard, main roster stars will have a 90-day non-compete, while NXT talent will have a 30-day non-compete. Dakota Kai posted to social media, "Gonna take a little time, but just know we are far from done. I've been ready. Let's go." There is some early speculation that AEW will have interest in Dakota Kai once her non-compete is over. Fightful Select report, Dakota Kai already has gained the interest of outside companies and top agents in pro wrestling, as they expect her to have plenty of offers. Kai's old Damage Control stablemate Io Sky posted, "She is so much sweet, strong, kind, smart, wonderful, and beautiful woman. My dearest and best friend. I love you. Everyone loves you." Fightful also report that Baszler, who only re-signed with the company last year, was helping out in NXT recently, and her release was a big surprise. Sean Ross Sapp also reports some in NXT knew Jakara Jackson's release was coming, as they split her from Lash legend this week. Cora Jade posted of her time in WWE, "Dropping out of high school at 15 to chase my dreams was scary, but I'm so thankful it worked out for the time that it did. I got to live out so many childhood dreams, go so many places, do so many things, and most importantly, I met some of the most important people in my life that I know I'll have in my corner forever. Unfortunately, it didn't go how I envisioned, and I'm disappointed by a lot of things, but I can look back with no regrets, and I know I did everything with love and passion and always stood up for myself even in the times I was scared." Roxanne Perez posted photos of herself and Jade, calling her a wrestle soulmate for life. Sean Ross Sapp noted that he expects Cora Jade, who is only 24, to be back in WWE at some point down the line. She has revealed that she'll be going back to her old in-ring name of Elena Black and has set up an email address for bookings, which is, incredibly, a Yahoo email address. I've not seen anyone use Yahoo email since the mid-2000s. Regardless of the email host, it should be noted that this is for booking purposes only. After quite innocently posting her actual email address to twitter.com, Cora Jade had to clarify, "This is for bookings and inquiries only, you weird-ass insensitive f***s." I dread to think what was in that inbox. And it won't just be AEW interested in some of these names, as Fightful Select also report those we spoke to in MLW said that there will likely be interest from their side with a few of the women who got released. Following that initial dozen or so names, it was then reported that WWE had also come to terms with the release of Dani Palmer, and it was then reported that Shotzi would also be finishing up with the company. However, unlike the others, it's been reported that Shotzi was informed that her contract, which is up in less than 90 days, would not be renewed. She posted a video to social media which seemed to indicate that she knew this was coming, and her profile was moved to the alumni section of WWE.com. She posted to Twitter, "I am more than grateful for the wild ride. Can't wait to see where this crazy journey takes me next. I hope to make all my believers proud." Charlotte Flair, who was partnered on screen with Shotzi for a period of time, posted, "Thank you for those months on SmackDown and long talks." Fightful Select report, we're told she pretty well saw the writing on the wall and prepared the promo that aired last week. She's said to be excited for her future and optimistic about what she'll do. Shotzi's also made a joke that her last match in WWE was on speed, saying can't wait to wrestle for a lot longer than 3 minutes. The same cannot be said for Dani Palmer, as Fightful Select report those that we spoke to don't believe that Dani Palmer will continue in wrestling. She was an athletic recruit and has spoken about her athletic career coming to an end as a result of the release. We'll get more into the why of these releases in a moment, or at least the reported reason why, but the broad strokes is this: money. These WWE releases are cost-saving measures, saving millions of dollars in contracts. So really, they're just business decisions. So the question some fans have is, did Triple H or Shawn Michaels know in their creative capacities on the main roster and NXT that these releases were coming, or did they even have a say? As noted earlier, Jackson's release was potentially foreshadowed by the creative call to split her away from Lash Legend, which would indicate that Shawn Michaels did know it was coming. And Sean Ross Sapp said on his Fightful podcast, if Triple H wanted to keep these people, they'd still be there. One of the more interesting names in the releases is Riley Osborne. Osborne hasn't been on NXT since the split of Chase U back in November, but has been featured recently on Evolve. However, all of those matches were taped far in advance, and Osborne has revealed via Instagram that he underwent surgery on March 7th, so he's been released while injured. Carl Anderson revealed that he was also injured when he was released from WWE this past February. In speaking about Riley Osborne specifically on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said his situation was one of those where it had to do with non-wrestling things. There was just not political, that's not the right word. There were just certain things that happened with him, and it kind of led to them taking him off television. Meltzer adds, he was not cut over talent. Which brings us to the big overarching question of the video. Why did WWE release these talents? As mentioned earlier, the headline reason is cost saving, and Dave Meltzer adds WWE main roster cuts were due to age and salary relative to how they were being used. NXT cuts were due to lack of development or training. These are the same reasons that were given for cuts earlier this year and last year. Speaking about Braun Strowman in particular, Meltzer said his salary was high, and one person told me they felt he was paid more than how they were using him, I guess is the best way to put it, but salary played a part in this. Strowman was previously released from WWE in 2021, reportedly for the same salary reasons. An interesting historical note is Strowman was released for the first time on the same day as Aleister Black, who had his return WWE match on the same day that Strowman was released for a second time. So that's the reported main roster reason, age and money, and the NXT reason is one that we've heard before. WWE cut talent who they don't think are progressing to the level they want as quickly as they'd like. Meltzer adds that this was the reason for many, but not all, of this round of NXT cuts, adding some were perceived as not working hard in training. He continued, at this point, if the feeling is you're not working hard in training, I saw the term lazy, the ones who are lazy are gonna be gone, and the ones who didn't stand out are gonna be gone. However, this claim has been somewhat disputed by Gigi Dolan, who replied, when I wasn't traveling to work for either of the two companies I was working for, I trained very hard 3 to 4 days a week, bumping my ass off and doing cardio drills with one of the best/toughest coaches I've ever worked with, and worked out every single day with live events every other weekend. So yeah, I don't want to hear this, lol. The way my body feels says otherwise. Dolan comments certainly seem to be in relation to the idea that some NXT talents have been branded lazy. And Cora Jade replied to Dolan's reply in support and added, plus can't forget having to go to my own gym outside of work after strength and conditioning that wasn't doing anything for me other than get me body shamed by my bosses, co-workers, and fans. Jade doesn't name these bosses or co-workers, but comments like this are never a good look for WWE. Some even expect that WWE will announce the long-rumored Evolution 2 in the coming days as a PR move against this negative publicity. Given the new relationship, it will be interesting to see if any of these released names end up in TNA, which would also likely see them continue to do work with NXT. But TNA themselves have been crossing many T's and dotting several lowercase J's on new contracts. contracts. Having recently signed former WWE star Indy Hartwell, Fightful Select are reporting that TNA have also signed British wrestlers Harley Hudson and Myla Grace. Hudson had previously won a TNA gut check but was unable to appear with the company due to visa issues. Apparently, it was Gail Kim, who is no longer with the company, that kept in touch with Hudson, and according to Fightful Select, she'd been pushing internally for TNA to help speed up the process and bring her over for a year. They add that Hudson has actually been under a TNA contract for a while. Similarly, Myla Grace has also reportedly been with TNA since last year, and like Hudson, was pushed for heavily by Gail Kim. Both have been working dates in Europe and internationally. Grace did a spot at a recent Hustle show in London, as well as OTT, Eve, Noah, and Marigold, while Hudson did some dates with Riot Cabaret, Eve, Burning Heart, and ICW. If you're looking for something a little bit lighter in terms of wrestling stuff, myself and Ollie Davis did our best to predict WrestleMania 42, that's next year's WrestleMania, way too far in advance. You can check that out by clicking the video on screen.